Airports are my life. I am a gypsy, trapped in an actor's body. I go from place to place. So we transfer, we switch off, we take carry-on bags, we check our luggage, we tip people, we travel. Because that's what we do. Help me.
Mr. Bruce Campbell.
So, I noticed that you're doing a documentary. I mean, what prompted you to do this?
I'm calling it Fanalysis because I've encountered fans for years, and I've always found it fascinating, the roots of fandom.
Fascinating.
This is my friend Richie.
Why are people fans? Why are they fans to the extent that they're going to spend, 40 weeks making a costume that'll walk across the stage for 4 seconds? That's fascinating to me.
I don't think there is such a thing as an average fan. I think it's more about the levels of intensity of fandom.
I have never seen a character that has really affected me as much as Xena has.
I've been a Trekkie my whole life. My dad made me watch it as a child. I'm scarred for life.
My dad has every episode on tape.
Yes, so does my dad.
There are various stratas of fandom like in any other group of people, whereas you have people with lives and families and kids and jobs and all of that, and they occasionally rent a movie at Blockbuster and watch it at home.
And then the next level, they just buy a few dolls.
A cult fan, I guess, I sort of define it personally as when costuming and lingo starts to come into like their day-to-day lives.
Then there's the third type, which is where I am, which is mildly obsessive.
Nancy, the nutcase, will bow to the TV and once in a while forget that she's watching the show and she'll be in the show.
And then you have the geek. The guy who's lost.
The top level is somebody that does plastic surgery on themselves, changes their name, wears a costume.
And then there's the poor souls who, like, you can tell by looking at them that they have nothing more to live for, and it's really sad.
I'd say there's probably only 5 levels, because about the 5th level, we're really talking lawsuits and police.
I love you.
I was 15 when I saw Army of Darkness, and that's what first started me getting into Bruce Campbell. And if I was a fan of anybody else, I would be flat broke.
Yes, sir.
What is it like as an actor to come to these things and see people who are wearing your likeness on their shirts?
Shop smart. Shop S-smart.
And just apparently seem to eat, sleep, and breathe your show.
To be honest, the concept of fandom to me is too surreal to have an impact. When I go home to the Pacific Northwest, it does not affect my day-to-day life.
The problem I always sort of run into is I'll go into a FedEx office to mail something, and I'll get the woman behind the counter going, "Hey, you look familiar. Are you an actor?" Yeah. What have I seen you in? Oh, I've been in, do you watch television? No. Well, name some stuff. And it's like, well, look, can you please just take my package? Everyone can say they're a fan of something. One time I wrote a fan letter to Steve McQueen. I saw his movie Papillon, which was in the 70s. Dear Steve McQueen, I like all your films and Gomorrah, and I think I sent it to, Steve McQueen, actor, Hollywood, USA. And, of course, I got no response, and it bummed me out horribly.
I wrote 2 fan letters as a kid. One to a guy who wrote a book about sea animals, who wrote me back, actually. The other fan letter I wrote was to, what was that guy's name? He was some actor on The Outer Limits. I can't remember what his name was, but I got a letter back from his estate telling me that he had died. But he was already dead.
Fan mail itself is a fascinating concept. The fact that someone would send a letter to you, hoping that you'll read it in the comfort of your own home and be impressed. Dear Mr. Campbell, I wrote a short story about a guy named Norm who likes to torture small animals and sink
Dear
bugs
Bruce,
in the toilet by
I'm an autopsy pathologist and enjoyed Army of Darkness. May I use your photo of skeletal hands reaching
Dear
up to
Mr.
the
Bruce
ground
Campbell,
on my
go
lecture
Bruce, go sing We Are the World with your activist friends.
I have written to you many times before asking intelligent.
Dear Mr. Campbell, I think I should get a life. I'm mailing a non-popular actor about a non-popular greetings, Bruce. Even though you do some of the cheesiest stuff I've ever seen, you're great at what you do. How about Tucson, Arizona? It feels like a card, not really a letter. It'll be like a horse or something, or a... Oh, no, it's a cactus that has crushed a car. Dear Bruce, not only are you talented, but goddamn sexy as well. Hope you're not offended by such a comment from another male. And if you are, I couldn't give a shit. So keep up the good work and more shirtless scenes. Thanks. I use an email address for any fan that wants to send something to me. How's it going, Bruce? I wrote before and was happy that I actually received a response. A lot of people said, oh, you must have gotten your agent to do that response. I said, you kidding? I can't even get my agent on the phone. He's not going to do my email. Every so often, I will get one that is just a zinger. Each email has a little subject heading, and this one is, sorry about your acting career.
I was pretty amazed to hear you're working on writing a book. I wasn't sure you were literate. Well, I mean, I knew you could push the button when you wanted another banana. I'm only about halfway through.
When it's convention time, when it's public appearance time, I do sort of break out the reasonable clothes. I'm hoping that the fans want to see someone who's approachable, that you're not wearing a Hugo Boss suit or whatever. I wouldn't know a Hugo Boss suit if it jumped out and bit me in the ass. You know, I'll go from your sort of dumb sandals with socks. I'll probably go to a nicer shoe or a goofier shoe. You know, I might have to dust the crap out of these because I'm getting a little too much rural dust. You know, I might go a little kookier. This is a martini shirt. That'll be for the Evil Dead crowd because unfortunately these maniacs can drink during the shows. So, you know, I gotta wear stuff that looks good with beer spill all over it. I actually know some actors who are tormented by fans, just tormented. They think they're all crazy and they're all these, you know, 900-pound couch potatoes. You know, there's always a grain of truth in some of that. I look at it as sort of a grassroots thing. I'm sort of glad-handing and taking a pulse of what's out there. I am absolutely a traveling salesman. What I try and do sometimes is take things with me on the road to make me feel like I'm still sort of at home. I have a pillow that I travel with. I like to interact. It's nice to go out and see the face of the emails, live in person.
Get my picture with you?
Yeah, where's the camera?
Thank you.
Oh, whatever, sure, where's the camera?
I want to get a hold of you as far as like scripts or anything like that. Like, is there email? Or
Go to my website. Are you online at all?
Yes. Go to the website.
www.bruce-
So you actually answer all the mail yourself, or you?
Yeah, if it's like but you should put in the subject heading.
Right.
Something a little more serious than like, you rock. Try it again.
Evil Dead was my first film experience for me.
Yeah, Hamlet.
I do like your work.
All right, lovely.
There's a certain mentality out there that's special. You know, you'll definitely see the adrenaline start to pump. Your eyes start to light up.
Theater, for God's sake.
Evil Dead, for example, is probably one of the first movies this particular crowd saw that was just like, wow.
Come on in. This is Tim. He's the proprietor of the establishment.
I think we're ready to go anytime you are.
Go for it. I'm ready.
Mr. Bruce Campbell.
I think the problem arises sometimes in fandom of entertainers is that they expect that person to be that character. There's a very big difference there, and I think that's where some of the confusion is, some of the gray areas are in our society. That fantasy versus reality.
They want a certain kind of you. That's what they're paying for. We actors run a very fine line of giving them what they want, but not giving too much away. When I go on stage to say hi, it's Ted Raimi up there. So I can't really hide too much behind a persona. What I have to do is to give very specific answers that aren't too personal, but not so impersonal so as the fans would be disappointed because they came to see me. My primary goal in going to these conventions is so that I can see the people who I am supposed to be entertaining and meet them to see if I am. How else does an entertainer know if he's any good?
When you come to a convention, no one cares what your race is, what's your religion, your education, how much money you make. It's like we're all here because we're fans of Star Trek, Star Wars, D5, and so we can all be friends together regardless of anything else. Now when we leave the convention center, we may suddenly take those prejudices on again, but at least for the weekend, we can all come together as friends and have a good time.
We try to make people realize that they can come here. It's a safe environment. They don't have to feel ostracized. There's a place where they can go where they aren't chastised for what they like, or they aren't teased for being weird or any of that. And it makes a difference in their lives because it gives them an outlet. It gives them a safe outlet for their creative energy.
They go in there to escape the bad media and have some fun.
I think what makes a typical fan is somebody who has a 9-to-5 job in the real world that wants to have the wife and the kids and all that, but they're still holding on to being a kid inside. They're still holding on to being a child. It's an escape. It's a way to get away from all of their day-to-day problems.
Signing from 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock, guys.
I'm brought in to sit with them, tell jokes, and put little Billy on my knee and sign their autographs.
Where are we looking? Hold on, we're gonna look right there. There you go. How are you?
How are you?
Good. What was your name?
Artemis.
Artemis, yes. Okay. There you go.
Thanks.
All right. Say when. Carol and Jeff. When people line up for 2.5 hours for an autograph, to be honest, my initial reaction is, you poor bastard, I'm sorry you had to wait so long. I wish there was a way to make it all happen faster, but of course, in order to do that, you'd have to be more impersonal.
Sorry if I scare you. I'd like to say you're a genius, and you are my idol.
Yesterday, a woman wanted me to sign slightly above her breast, and, you know, and in order to get my hand in there, I sort of had to mush upon her breast a certain amount. I'm not saying that that was a bad thing.
I'll go to a breakfast with them that the convention has arranged, and they'll sit there and they'll eat their pancakes without saying anything. You know, I have to kind of poke them and prod them to talk. When I run into a fan, sometimes they'll go, oh, you look kind of like a normal guy. Especially even when you work on a movie. If it's an action thing or something, you might train for weeks and weeks and weeks and get in really good shape, and you run around without your shirt on, and it's all makeup, and they spray you down. It's all make-believe, and then, you know, they see in reality, you know, you're at Denny's eating, and you're sort of slumping over a little bit, and you've got mustard on your chin just like everybody else. It's fans kind of get excited yet horrified at the same time. So I think within fandom, it's sort of a roadkill thing. They can't take their eyes off it.
What's probably the most surreal moment that's ever happened to you?
That's surreal. The costume event last night was pretty surreal to me. It had a fan-like frenzy.